You know, as someone who was there early for Travis Scott's career when he released Alfaro, I remember everybody making fun of me because of how different this music sounded and how unique his voice was, because nobody really knew who Travis Scott was when Alfaro dropped. But when I discovered it, man, I was trying to show as many people as possible, but they were like, what the fuck is this? Now fast forward some time and now he's one of the biggest artists that we have in this world. And you know, I was re-listening to his discography and I was like, man, I love Utopia, right? But Astroworld in 2025 still hits like it just released last year. Like, I remember the whole rollout for this album, it dead ass felt like we were going to a place called Astroworld, and I really thought I was there when I was listening to this album. And as somebody who does not do drugs, this album felt like I was on a trip the entire time. It was very psychedelic. Just the overall production really had you in like this sort of mindset. It's a sonic roller coaster with a meticulously crafted experience that I have yet to get from another album in quite some time. Through different times of the album, I felt disoriented. I felt like an extreme amount of thrill, an immense sense of raging. This trippy vision of not only fame and luxury, but just overall youth and chaos. I'm over here looking at the track list, right? And I see Astroworld blends like this atmospheric production with a bunch of 808s, experimental transitions, and unexpected beat switches. And that just leads to the overall kind of, I guess, the well-craftedness of this entire album. Because as you go track by track, there's nothing too abrupt. It kind of feels like everything is seamlessly flowing through and you're going through different highs and lows of a trip. On Astroworld, Travis Scott also pays homage to his roots, which is Houston, with that chopped and screwed sound, slowing some of the songs down, and I really fucked with it at the time. And I also think that's very commendable for somebody to come from the chopped and screwed kind of environment and to bring it to the global level. I can only tip my hat to him. Very cinematic production, and if you look at the producer credits, you'll see genius names on there. Like Mike Dean. If you don't know who Mike Dean is, I recommend you search him up because he is a phenomenal mind in music, and he's a big part of the Weeknd's second trilogy. Those synths that he creates, all these different sounds, are fucking crazy. You know, one of the knocks on Travis Scott earlier in his career was it's kind of like he's a feature on his own albums because he has a lot of features and they seem to be the focal point of his songs rather than him. But on Astroworld, I felt like he did a great job at not only having a large amount of features, but kind of balancing himself within it too. Like, the features on this album really blended in with Travis Scott aesthetic rather than Travis Scott blending in with them. So in turn, that leads to Travis Scott's vocal performance not really being overshadowed. I mean, Travis Scott's also never been the most lyrical miracle rapper, but at the same time, he just has this aesthetic to his voice, and he has those one or two liners where like they're very memorable, they might be a little bit funny, but that kind of lies in the strength of his voice. It's the mood and the experience. It's the fact that he's able to execute a vibe so fucking well that nothing else matters. He could be saying a bunch of BS. As long as it sounds amazing and it's on Travis Scott level production, we're pretty much okay with it. You see, track 1, we got Stargazing. This is the opener that sets the tone with spaced out synths and very kind of weird vocal effects that are pretty much prominent throughout the entire album. Like, I remember pressing play for the first time and I was like, oh shit, I'm about to get on this ride. It starts off pretty smooth and gentle, but then midway there's this dramatic beat switch that really fucking hypes you up. A very psychedelic phase in a hard-hitting zone that you knew this song was for the mosh pits. It's this metaphorical takeoff of we're here for liftoff, Astroworld, here we come. And I know that one line didn't really age well. It ain't no mosh pit if there's no injuries. And at the time, man, I remember hearing that everybody was like, oh shit, like that rager inside you was about to come out. I got a stage diving off the nosebleeds. When you go back to listen to this album, I want you to take account how these songs end and how they start, because they seamlessly flow through each other. So we move on to track 2, which is Carousel with Frank Ocean, which, by the way, releasing this song, Matt, just think about that. Frank Ocean and Travis Scott are on a song together. And as the biggest Frank Ocean fan, his vocal delivery on this wasn't the greatest, but that in alone made this song great. It was the fact that his vocals were so fucking weird. You know, this track continues that theme park motifs with like a spinning carousel sound, that crowd cheering on and on and on. And again, Travis Scott's vocals are really weird, but I found myself saying, brand new, this new place I got to. Very texture production and a lot of swirling effects that have you feeling like the psychedelic trip. And Frank Ocean adds like this very ghostly kind of feel to it. And the way that song ends, the way Carousel ends and goes into sicko mode, And then when everybody first heard that song, everybody lost their shit. Sicko Mode obviously features Drake, which in itself, everybody's like, Drake is on here? Drake starts off the song with a very short verse. It transitions into Travis Scott, which Travis Scott did his fucking thing on this too. This is also the height of like the Adidas versus Nike kind of battle, and you know, Travis Scott and Drake both got those lines off. Then that beat switches again, and this is where Drake fucking left Earth. Look, people be trying to tell me that 2 Masa feature with Smiley was phenomenal, but then I was like, how can you say that's phenomenal when this Drake feature exists? Everybody knows that verse line by line, word for word. Without a doubt, you cannot fuck it up because of how iconic that verse is. It's a very club ready and chaotic anthem, and when it switches back to Travis Scott, he does a phenomenal job ending it, and he ends the song with a little bit of chopped and screw, which is perfect for setting up the next song, which is R.I.P. Screw, which is pretty much a tribute to DJ Screw and the Houston's Chopped and Screw vibe. You know, Swae Lee's melodic vocals really add to the warmth of this track, and it gives it like this very slow tempo, and it's a good way for the album to give you some breathing room given the hype that has came before it. Which then leads you to the song Stop Trying to Be God, which that one is an underrated classic to me in my opinion. It's one of the more conceptually deep tracks on this album. The song warns you about fame, narcissism, and idolization. That harmonica that keeps coming in and out, it just does something to your brain. Like, usually by itself, it will be very fucking annoying to hear that harmonica, but Travis Scott implements it in a way where it adds to the song. And then you also got James Blake's vocals at the end that are so fucking heavily. It feels like you're ascending into heaven with that gospel kind of feeling. As you're ascending to heaven, we transition into No Bystanders, where you just wake up like this, and now you're ready to fuck shit up again. Obviously, RIP to Juice WRLD, who is on this track, but Sheck Wes, his energy, no matter what song is on, it's always club ready. You know, this track really projects pure rage into the album and marks a very large peak in this album when it comes to energy. The song is pretty much about aggressive recklessness, energetic escapism, and festival ready rebellion. And then you come into the song Skeletons, which at first I wasn't really sure how I was feeling because I thought it was just a cool track, but as time went on, it's a very psychedelic groove that glides rather than it bangs, pause if needed. It's a very trippy interlude, and if you take it as that, it's an amazing song. Then going on to track 8, we have Wake Up with The Weeknd, and it's the most traditional melodic song on the album. The Weeknd handles the chorus obviously because of his amazing voice, but The Weeknd's voice in this song has a very ghostly tone, which I think is pretty cool given the fact that the subject matter is about emptiness of the party lifestyle. And again, I want you to really pay attention to how those songs end and go into the next song. Next up, we have 5% Tint, and I remember this track not being the most popular, but it was definitely a track for me where I really enjoyed. You know, this track really feels like a paranoid and insular kind of song that is about protecting privacy and staying low despite how high profile Travis Scott is. Me personally, I'm not really a guy who likes to rock 5%. I'm more of a 20% Tint guy. Next up, we got NC-17 with 21 Savage, and this was around a time where I was 50-50 on 21 Savage's music. Like, sometimes it was hitting pretty hard, the other times it was kind of like mid. You know what's funny was this song wasn't really that popular and it was getting made fun of a lot because of the lyrics. Like, Travis Scott starts off the song with, "Me and my bitch, we love the same sex, fuck with all my chains on, we have chain sex." Like, you hear that as a listener, you're like, what the fuck? And then 21 Savage comes in with his signature kind of humor, that one-liner that has everybody saying, what? That line being, "I nutted on her face, her new nickname is Babyface." And if you're not really into his music, I can see how that can turn you off, but me, I thought it was pretty funny and I didn't mind the bar at all. Now, Astro Thunder was one of those songs where for me it took a few listens, because on first listen I thought it was pretty boring, but after a few more listens of Astro Thunder, it's a very chill and ambient track with a jazzy feel. It also kind of felt abrupt when I first heard this album because it does not sound similar sound-wise to the previous tracks that we've heard before. You know, we got an introspective Travis Scott on here with an atmospheric production with themes of loneliness, stardom, and detachment. I listen to this song now and it's like, damn man, I'm ascending into heaven right now. Next up, we got the track Yosemite, which a lot of people were making jokes about this song for the simple fact that Nav sounded like he was underwater when it first came out. I guess there was a problem with the mixing when this was first released, and Nav still gets the bad end of the joke still to this day. Which, by the way, shout out to Nav. He showed love to one of my posts and that really helped me out, so thank you, man. This was also one of my earliest introductions to Gunna, who Gunna to this day is one of my favorite rappers regardless of what you want to call him. Gunna has this very hypnotic hook that makes the song feel like a lazy river ride. It just feels so fucking smooth. And once Nav got his vocals fixed, him, Travis Scott, and Gunna all did their thing on this track. Next up, we got one of the greatest songs on this album where Don Toliver really cemented his mark, and that is Can't Say. I mean, Don Toliver really steals the show here. He really effectively launched his career with this song. It's a very melodic, catchy, and has this very gothic mood. You know, Travis Scott and Don Toliver really kind of fit together on this track, and not only that, the hook is very infectious. Even when I go some time without listening to this album, I still find myself singing the hook to this song, which the song goes into Who What featuring Quavo and Takeoff. And rest in peace to Takeoff, but Takeoff's always been one of my favorite rappers, so it was nice to hear him on this album as well. You know, it's not the most innovative song on the album, but it's still wellly crafted enough where it's a standalone. And you know, funny enough was when Butterfly Effect first came out, I wasn't really the biggest fan of it. It took some time for me. I don't know why. It's a very slick and catchy song with a lighter touch to it. You know, the lyrics are very vague and vibey, and it's a Travis Scott song, man. Now, in my opinion, it's not his greatest song ever. It's not in the top of my list, but a lot of people do really hold that song in a very high regard, which leads into the next track, which is Houston Fornication, which at the time I didn't really like the song, man. It took me a few listens as well. It's a play on Houston, obviously, where Travis Scott is from, and the word fornication. It's a very synth heavy song with an upbeat, nostalgic undertone, and I don't know why I didn't like it. Like, I listened to the song now and I just like, yo, this is genius. Now we're at the last song of the album, which is Coffee Bean, and I gotta be completely honest with you. I remember when this song first came out, everybody loved it. I didn't necessarily like it, and I still don't really listen to the song to this day. Like, I try to go back to it and listen to it, but like, I can't get past the first half of the song because it's just really not, it's not for me. Travis Scott ends the album with Coffee Bean, which is a very vulnerable and lyrically grounded song. But I guess for me, that's not something I really want to hear Travis Scott do. On top of that, it's over a very soulful, mellow beat, and I didn't think Travis Scott really had the greatest flow on that track either. I can see why people really love this song because this is one of the first times where Travis Scott really shows some real vulnerability. You know, he talks about real life relationships, struggles, and insecurity, and it's very rare that he offers introspection. All in all, man, Astroworld is more than just a collection of hits. It's an experience and a statement in Travis Scott's artistic vision. It's a masterclass in mood setting. Like, again, everybody thought they were going to Astroworld. I was 18 when this album first came out, and I thought I was going to a place knowing damn well, yo, I'm still in my hometown. You got tracks to mellow you out. You got tracks that make you feel like you're ascending into heaven. You got tracks that make you want to fucking throw your laptop against the ground. Regardless on what spectrum you fall into when it comes to the hip hop and rap community, I feel like there's something for you to enjoy on this album. I essentially just wanted to have a discussion on this album because I feel like this album really aged well, and it's not one of those albums where it kind of peaked at its moment and then it fell off and nobody really wants to hear it again. Let me know in the comments how you feel about this album. How has it aged for you? I also plan to do more videos like this where I talk about albums that have aged really well, and let me know in the comments what album I should do next. That's all I really got for you guys, and until next time, I'll catch you on the next one.